Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Frances and I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4 boys. One has recently launched. He's been launched, but he came back to visit and he is off into the world. Um, so, yeah, new things. And today I thought I'd jump on and do a quick video about where we are and a little unboxing. Because we are making some changes and yeah, we went to the library and it was so nice and beautiful and that really worked. Them just having a space that was quiet and not in this kind of like, if you want to call it claustrophobic house where we are all. And so, yeah, we had a good day going to the library. So that's something we'll start incorporating every week. So now we're going to be out the house 3 days of the week. And the other 2 days, yesterday was a struggle after the library day. So noticing that, yes, we do need separate spaces, and still moving forward on finding a house. So, yeah. While I was at the library, I picked up a few things that I had. I just want to mention them. I'm not really going to talk about them too much. But basically what I'm doing moving forward is just kind of reading through some ADHD resources, whether it is or not, because either way, and if they get tested or don't get tested, either way, it helps me with the hyper or the inattentiveness that some of them have. So I got this book and it's called If Your Adolescent Has ADHD, an essential resource for parents. Hence, before all of this, I went to the doctor and I was telling him I wanted them to get tested and he was blowing me off legit. I don't know whether it was because I'm the teacher and he's just assuming that I knew nothing. So I wasn't happy about that. So this is just a book that talks about, if I could find the things, it says, finding the best treatment for your teen, behavioral approaches, medication, which I'm not on the route of really wanting them to take medication because I am not a friend of the medication field. Now, if it was something serious, yes, I probably would do medication. But for me, I feel like if it's something that they can give you strategies to try to teach yourself to maintain it, or the reality is, if it seems like it doesn't get better, yeah, maybe you do need some medication. So all in all, so there's a thing on smart learning, study strategies, friendships. I feel like when I started reading it that I have a little slight ADHD when I tend to like zone out of conversations that I'm happening, or that when somebody tells a story and I feel like it's happened to me, I tell the same story. And it was just saying that people see that as you wanting to talk about yourself, when in actuality you're just trying to show them like you understand what's happening. So that was funny to find out. This one, How to Reach and Teach Children and Teens. Hair is in my face. Yeah. And so I started reading, and I don't know whether I showed you that book. I think I just showed it on Instagram about project learning. And a lot of these books I realized that are like grouped as a classroom, and we're not a classroom. So this also has a classroom things in it, but it does have other stuff in it that I'm going to read through. But I know that classroom stuff, reading books that are based more on a classroom than homeschool, it's not the same. So yeah, that book, I'm currently 7 Habits of a Highly Effective Teen. We started this, and then I got this book. It says Attention Hijacked. It says Using Mindfulness to Reclaim Your Brain from Tech. So these are the 2 things that we are currently adding to our reading through with our Black History Month stuff. And so, yeah, now that's another change that we have made at 4 p.m. On Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, we meet right here in this room and we do our read alouds. I know it's late and I know it's right before dinner time, but honestly, that's what's working. And so that's where it's going to stay. Besides, if bed goes really good and they're in bed by a certain time, I still read at night sometimes. So it's like just putting it where it needs to be. And that's what's happening with that. This one, Claudette Calvin, we actually enjoyed this. And it was so crazy because she sat on the bus and went to jail for not getting up at 15. And this was before Rosa Parks sat on the bus. So it was very, and she went on to fight for to unsegregate the buses. So it was a good read and something that me and my kids were like, wait a minute. My son was like, ain't that Rosa Parks? I'm like, yes, it was Rosa Parks, but apparently she did it before Rosa Parks, so that was good. Also, this one we read Stokes. This was really good. It was a man who he was playing, and he got really hurt, and he, you know, remained in a wheelchair, but he kind of paved the way for other African-American basketball players, and so it was a good story, and they liked that too. They actually like reading about sports, so that's something that I was like, oh, this is interesting. And so we had some good conversations about that was, you know, during the Jim Crow times with the whole bus thing and what, you know, segregation looked like. And I just love learning like that. And I know my son was sad. He has to go to culinary in the afternoon next year because once you advance, the earlier, you know, the new kids coming in go to the AM class, so he has to go to the PM class. And I just love that we're going to get our mornings back. Oh my gosh. And he doesn't have to be probably at the bus until 12. So it's very nice to be able to, like, things that I want to do with them, which I really had things planned for wanting to do his junior year because, yeah, so Mama's happy about that. All right. This is the other one, Winning with ADHD. This is actually a workbook for them or playbook for them to go through. So this is the first one we're doing. And yes, I have a lot, and that's just what it looks like. It has actually curved my reading of stuff that I wanted to read homeschool-wise. But we will get there. And so this one that I'm reading through, I would suggest this to any female that seems like she has hormone or like your life is all over the place. And this basically talks about Fast Like a Girl, talks about your cycle and really going with the rhythms of your cycle. And she talks about how, like, before your cycle, you shouldn't really do any hard exercising, and just like even when your cycle starts, that's when you really should do like heavy fasting. And it's been eye-opening, even talking about your blood sugar, and it's full. And so I wasn't gonna get it because I've watched a lot of her videos, but I am glad that I did buy this book. And yeah, it's been a good addition to my home, which I'm gonna keep. And I will show you, let me see if I can find a page real quick. This is, yeah, this is kind of what she breaks your cycle up into and shows you like what you should do during that time, you know, foods, what's good for you during that time, even like as you fast, how to break your fast, what not to eat is. I have struggled to put together my now 10th graders English and composition, which is what I have called his classes. My freshman now is taking World Lit, and I just put him right in because I knew he could handle it. You know, yeah. And at this point, and home and all of this stuff being new, I feel like I'm at the point now where I'm trying to really limit the screens. And so I know people say, oh, that doesn't have an effect, but hey guys, I started off the year saying you have to do less than 7 grams of sugar. I don't take away fun. If we go out to the restaurant, I let them get what they want. Hence, no colors. I was very strict on the no colors this year. And even so far with my younger one, it's crazy. And so I know it has an effect as I'm trying to get this box open. And so for me, and even talking to another mom who came out of the medical field and was a therapist, she was like, it's the stuff around us. She was like, and you know, it could be the stuff around us, and it could get so severe that it does become a thing that affects your life on a daily basis all the time. So, but I feel like changing the things that can be changeable is something you should do first, you know. So, and so for my oldest, he doesn't like to read, but not reading. I can't even explain that. So, and I guess if he messes up reading, he doesn't want to read. He's not motivated to read. So, I will show you what I bought, because basically, for him, next year is probably going to be literature and composition. The first 2 years were English and composition. I feel like he is in a position now where he knows he wants to be a chef. He knows he wants to go into culinary. So anything that I do for him next year is with, even with his subjects, as we tackle on having a science and history, I am going to intertwine them with culinary. So that's because I feel like it will motivate him to do the work more versus it just being dry history. And he's like, I care nothing about this. So even though getting what he needs, but intertwining with culinary, that's something that I really want to do. So from Christian Light Education, I got Literature 1. This is a 10-book set. So what I'm planning to do, and this is for 10th grade, what I'm planning to do is use this to finish out the year. So I feel like we covered this. We're now in our heavy state of grammar, doing the Well-Trained Mind and Fix-It Grammar at the same time. I plan to be done that at the end of March. And then we're going to dive into IEW's writing. And then that would kind of take us to the end of the year. And then I'm going to incorporate some of this. So that will complete his kind of English and composition too. And for his transcript. And then, yeah, we will go into just literature and writing. Because even for him, even though he can write well, I feel like his exposure to vocabulary was less because he didn't read as much as his brother did. That's how I feel. So, yeah. And so it's these. I will be most likely doing a flip through video. And then there's the teacher materials. This book is tiny. And so when you get to the high school things with Christian Light Education, they actually have a physical textbook, so like classroom style, that you could do if you want to more teach it. And so the reason why I got this is because I used Christian Light Education 8 with him when he was in the 9th grade, and that worked. And for me, what made it work was, this is the textbook, Perspectives of Life and Literature. And so what made it work was me physically photocopying, because if you know a kid that does not like to read, does not like to see books like this. And so that's something that I have learned. So for me, photocopying and these little things, sometimes I photocopy these too and take them right out of the book so it doesn't look overwhelming. It's not a lot. And so that's what I will be doing. I think that I'm going to photocopy this because I want to use this with my 10th grader next year. Even though he will be doing American Lit, I'm just going to pick out books to cover his American Lit, and then he will also do some of this because, like I said, he's a reader. He can handle it. And so, yeah, but still getting into the mode of like, yeah, I'm starting to photocopy stuff because honestly, in these homeschool streets, I'm tired of spending money. So once I go through these, I will come out with a flip through, whatever. I will come out with these for a flip through. The last thing that I want to show you, give me 1 second because I forgot it on the bookshelf. And you know me, when I do flip throughs, I like to kind of be, well, I'll do a flip through and then I'll do like a halfway through how it's working for us and what it entails for you. Because I feel like in these homeschool streets, the biggest thing you want to know is how it's going to fit into your homeschool and is it going to work, right? Right. So the last thing I'll show you is all about spelling. And I got this because my now sixth grader is still struggling a little bit with spelling. I did spelling for my, oh my goodness, I know I did a video on it and I can't remember what it is. Spelling in a year, I believe, with my now 10th grader. And that has seemed to have helped a lot. I don't know if I'm going to make him, I might make him sit through all of the sounds in All About Spelling for my older one, and not necessarily the work, just kind of like as a review to go over the sounds. So it comes with a teacher's book, and your teacher book is just showing you all the lessons. If you want to see inside of this, let me know. These are your tiles that it comes with, and you don't use them all at once. And then there's a workbook that your child gets as well. And so, yeah, we started with this. For me, I paused on it because I was like, okay, we're doing too much. We were trying to do Memory Master this year, and we just haven't got to it. We've been so busy, and honestly, I had to come to the realization, like, I'm not a super person. I'm not Superwoman. So if we didn't get to it, we didn't get to it, and it is what it is. It is what it is. So, yeah, that is our changes that are happening. I feel like if you've been homeschooling for a while, sometimes all of the like, oh, wow, you're using that, you're doing that. And I had to come to the realization, like, I'm going to use what I want to use, even with the thought of using master books and Christian Light Education. Honestly, they are budget friendly, and I can add on to them. These are, yes, subjects that I feel like I can add on to, and I'm a person that likes to add on. It's really loving that I'm taking the time to be very mindful and really reflect on this homeschool year in the midst of the homeschool year, and not letting the like, oh my goodness, we need to make decisions about next year and all that stuff. And honestly, I'm not making decisions until like June or July, because I need to make sure that I'm doing what's best for our home before we pick any outside. So yeah, besides the fact that we really want to move, and I can't rush making decisions, because honestly, if it's like we move, we moving, you know what I'm saying? And so yes, those are changes in our homeschool. Everything else has been going so good. I like the fact that I'm for my son who's in culinary, I like the fact that not only is he getting up at 5 a.m. and he's sometimes exhausted, I have reduced his subjects down, but increased the workload for the week, and that's kind of going good. So, like I said, we'll be done with grammar by the end of March, and then April, we will focus on writing. May, we will do some end of the year project type writing, and yeah, it's going good. And I'm also happy that by May 12th, most of our groups will be done. So that's when I really can like hone in and say, okay, what else are we finishing this year? What are we not finishing this year? The only other thing that has really changed is that my sixth grader has gotten to the point in CTC math where I feel like this is the point where I don't like it, where it's like, he's not understanding, I'm not understanding. Why do I not understand the math? And so it's those things where it's like, even though if you reach out, they will explain it to you, which is a good thing. But like one of his questions was asking like, oh, how many did they do on the weekend? And we're thinking, okay, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday is the weekend. In people's defense, some people think Saturday and Sunday is the weekend. Some people think Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is the first day of the week. Like, please say that. Like, so he was going through the thing, and I'm like, why are you getting these questions wrong? Until I realized, it's like, it's not saying Friday, Saturday. It's not saying Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's just saying Saturday, Sunday. So sometimes things like that could be a pain, or they just throw in something or expect like what you took from your last lesson. Like, oh, if you're doing fractions or percentages, it's just saying how many kids, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, do you want the percentage, or do you, it's not really, I feel like it's not clear to where if you're not sitting and doing every lesson with your kid, it's like you feel like you have to go back and be like, okay, let me catch up because I don't understand where it is right now. And so that's how I felt for my older two. So hence, I'm looking all over for math. I'm not going back to Math UC, and I'm not going back to Saxon. My older two are loving Denison, so we're going to stay there with them. And so, yeah, for my 7th grader, it's like that gap in between, like knowing all the things you need to know before you hit pre-algebra. And he probably would do good in pre-algebra, but I'm not going to put him in pre-algebra. And so, because I feel like we did a multiplication workbook, and his multiplication got really good. But it's also one of those things that if you don't practice it and you're just like, oh, what's this times this? You're like, I'm not sure. And so it could be a forgetfulness thing, which is why I'm always like going. And so he did this presentation where he was supposed to do this math problem, and he did a division problem, and he put the number in the wrong spot. And I'm like, hence, mind you, I was going to get a long division workbook, because with CTC math, they just kind of teach you to put the remaining stuff in. There's no real practice of like long division. So, which there probably is, it's just not a lot. So I kind of like am getting him a workbook, and he's going to start on practicing long division while he was practicing multiplication. So, and he's going into his fraction workbook, which I forget what that is, but yeah. So right now we're kind of like on a pause with them. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Subscribe if it's your first time. Hit that notification bell, thumbs me up. And guys, I will check you out in my next video. Bye.